Hello, everyone. First talk after lunch, that's a challenge, right? For everybody. So, first I want you to think back at the time when you were kids and your parents bought something exclusive or expensive for your household. And they told you not to touch it, to be very careful. And you actually wanted to play with it. You wanted to touch it. You were very excited. On the other side, you were also very afraid you could break it. And in some ways, I think that's the same with innovation. And I'll come back to that in a second. My name is Goran. I'm part of the innovation team at Deutsche Bahn. And today I want to show you some, things that we did last year. The innovation team is a bunch of over 50 people, all spread across companies and business units. We all have different backgrounds. Some are coders, some are creatives, tech scouts. We also have coaches and consultants, but we all have one similar goal. We are all design thinkers, and therefore we foster that, we opened last year our D-Lab, where we actually train and live agile methods and the process of design thinking in order to get better and more customer-centric results. And we also have this Sky Deck, which is on one hand resembles the way of dealing and approaching new technologies and devices. On the other hand, it's real creative facilities that we have. We have 3 Sky Decks in Germany currently, in Berlin, in Erfurt, and Frankfurt. And we use it to invite internal people, colleagues, and also external people and companies for workshops and talks. And now I want to come back to the childhood memory of fear and excitement, because I actually don't want to talk about innovation in this context anymore. We've done a lot of VR stuff in the past year. And if I had said in the beginning, hey, let's do something with innovation, there's something like virtual reality, and it's getting big, and the market is getting bigger, people, especially people in a traditional environment, would be like, do you think so, Goran? Is it really working? And will the results be any good? So instead I said, I have the solution for your problem. Let's take VR technology that's been around for years, actually. And we have the hardware. We just bought some DK2 headsets. And we have the software. We have people working in 3D and VR all the time. We have everything we need up and running just as we're standing here. And try it on, you will like it from the start. And so it was. As I said, we did a lot of VR stuff in just the past 1.5 years in the fields of design research, employee training, human resources, and configurators and visualizers. And still there were some unknowns, even for me. There were questions I couldn't really answer. For example, will the experience be realistic enough for the details and features that we want to test and explore? Will contestants cope with the technology? I mean, we all know about motion sickness, right? And we were talking about last year. And most important, will the results be any good? Actually, will they be better than the traditional way? And let's be honest, if we think about trains, we think about this. If we think about Deutsche Bahn, we hopefully think about these two, our main products for long-distance travel. And while we have come a long way in terms of design, comfort, and speed, and so on, we're still talking about heavy assets. Those are built to last for decades, but customer needs change every year, right? Or probably every day. So yes, we have done a lot of research in the past to evaluate train designs. And we did it with train clinics and labs and used Mockups to research customer satisfaction and travel experiences, specific features, and so on. And Mockups, of course, have their advantages because they are one-by-one models. They are very realistic. They, even though they are alternative materials, they still have a good haptic and usability. But on the other side, they are quite expensive. And depending on the model that you want to test, it can take a longer time to build those mockups. And I'm pretty sure you all know how it is when reality hits you hard. Money is always scarce, and sometimes you just don't have the time to test and try things out or go the optimal way. And that was the case last year when it was time for the refurbishment of one of our models, the ICA3. Colleagues of the specialist department raised the question if and how we could test components and compartments of existing trains cheaper and faster and still get good results. And they asked also how we could test ideas of compartments or designs. And that's where VR comes to play. With our partners at Ipsos, we conducted some research and case studies last year. And I'm pretty glad that people were responding to the case studies and to the technology very good. Internally, we didn't miss any opportunity to show it to our management, to the colleagues and everybody in the house. But also externally, it was a quite good success because people, contestants, did really feel comfortable with the glasses or with the headsets. We had about, well, over 200 contestants and just a handful of cases of motion sickness, which is quite a good number, I think. And even though, or maybe because, we had them to wear the glasses for 20 or 30 minutes, which is quite a long time, but still they felt comfortable with it. So what did we do? As I said, we did a lot of stuff for the ICA3 and also for the lounges, and I'll just jump into one or two of these cases. For the compartment design, we went from standard to radical. Well, in our context, radical. Yeah. So we did the standard compartment with 6 seats to a complete new setup with different features and so on. And we did 6 variations of this compartment, 4 of which we tested 2 days with our contestants, and we saw how they reacted to the different setups of the room. And we saw how we can change characteristics of a compartment with just changing a little features or just different setup of the rooms. And it was a quite good impression for the first step from our side into the VR space. It was very good because we got very, very fruitful insights. One of the next phases, we actually used the positional tracker quite extensively, especially for privacy concerns. And it's a completely different situation if you talk about space and privacy on a piece of paper or in an interview, or you put on the headset, you are in the situation and you feel you have a perception of space and privacy. And just imagine you're sitting on a chair, have the headset on, and you turn your head to the side over your shoulder, and you see something like privacy protection. You just don't see it, you have a feeling of privacy, and that comes with a spontaneous reaction, which is pure gold for research. So that gave us some playfield for experimenting. The last example of VR research that we did was for our DB lounges that we have in 15 train stations across Germany. Those lounges will be redesigned with new furniture, new setups, new design. And what we did with the first model that we did was based on the actual Hamburg lounge. And we drove up to Hamburg, went to the lounge with our complete setup, and talked to people, talked to passengers that were sitting there waiting for the train, and said, okay, look around. This is the actual lounge. Put on the headset. These are our ideas about a new future lounge. What do you like? What you don't like? What do you see as new features? What features don't you recognize at all? So that was a quite interesting experience. And the new software versions and SDKs and so on gave us the opportunity to put on even more interactivity. So we were able to actually create combinations of chairs and tables and so on, and create different situations in the lounge. And then we invited the actual staff that is working in those lounges. So we talked to them again and asked what are likes and dislikes, what do you recognize as a good idea, what is it from your actual real day-to-day experience, maybe a bad idea. So we went with them through several processes to optimize the whole design. So those examples gave us the security that VR is a very good technology, not just for marketing, but also for a very productive way of working. Because, of course, we all know it's immersive, you get involved with the whole stuff. People get creative when they have their headsets on. And again, that's pure goal for research. So, as I said, we had also different fields of that we're working on actually right now also. For example, employee training, that is our latest example. For the staff that will be conducting the ICE4, which is our news model, which we launched actually last week. We did a training, and as you can imagine, it's hard to find an ICE4 when it's not yet launched. Of course, we have those big hydraulic configurators and simulation, but with this model, we have the opportunity to let them go through a process of predefined courses or even solve specific tasks. And with the HTC Vive, we are able to actually mimic the whole process of movement that you have to do when you're outside and maintaining the train, not just for driving, but also for maintenance. And we all know movement gives you a better memorizing for different tasks. We went also with the HR department, and because they have the very big task to find people for very, very specific and special jobs. And it's hard to find people for some of our jobs that we have. So we said, okay, let's do it more fun and exciting. We went to those colleagues. We filmed them with a 360 camera, and of course, did it with our cardboards or Samsung gears, and went to HR fairs and events where we showed those special jobs. And of course, the sheer technology attracted people, but the experience within those VR spaces, let's say, or the 360 spaces, raised the interest on those jobs, which was, again, the main goal for the whole thing. And actually, if you go to YouTube and search for Deutsche Bahn 360, you will find some of those videos. And the last one I want to show is, of course, configurators and visualizers. I think that's kind of standard. We've done it all in the past in 2D. Now we are able to do it in virtual reality. Yes, for negotiations or discussions, if you talk about different train situations, or if you want to optimize processes in a train station, you're able to do it actually on-site without being on-site, which is even more fruitful. So that was our fields that we're working on and have been working on for the last 1.5 years. And if you would ask me what are future fields that could be interesting, I think from my perspective at least, mobile VR seems to me very interesting. Just think about going through the train, into a compartment, telling them, the passengers, look around, this is the current compartment, these are our ideas, what do you think? You get instant feedback. Interesting. And of course, VR entertainment. Hollywood has its hands on it, and this will, I think, be very popular in no time. And this actually could be a thing for our ICE portal, the entertainment and infotainment platform that we have on board our trains. So if you want to discuss with us the future of VR, feel free to come. And my colleagues and I will be glad to show you some of our demos that we have and our projects. We're in the back of the demo area. Thank you.
Since we have a little time, you can go ahead and ask questions. Anyone?
Sure.
No one?
Don't be shy. So I did a good job.
Yes.
Pictures you showed, they all have a very low resolution. Don't you think it's a problem that it looks so computed, not realistic?
Well, we just had a DK2 last year, so of course we are working now with the HTC Vive, which has a better resolution, and yes, of course, we want a better and more realistic feel of the whole experiences, but the technology wasn't still there. But with the technology coming, we will update our platforms to have it even more realistic, of course.
But people didn't complain in your survey.
No, not at all. They were quite baffled because they didn't expect it, from Deutsche Bahn, they didn't expect it in a research environment, and they were immersed in the whole experience in no time. They were in there, they were pointing at things. I mean, you were sitting next to them and you had to be very careful not to have the finger in your eye. So people didn't explain at all.
Thank you.
Complain, sorry.
Hi. Are there any things you offer to your customers in virtual reality, like virtual reality tours in the Lokomotivstand and these things?
Well, as I said, the videos, 360 videos are already on YouTube. Real customer things, so to say, I don't think we have them yet. Actually, it's not, at least not my focus currently. So I'm pretty 98% sure that we don't have them yet. But that's an interesting topic, I would say. Yeah, of course.